Hey guys, what's going on? It's SuperFighterman6 here, and we are playing some more Battlefield 3 today after quite a long time, quite a long stretch of time where I was trying to get Battlefield 3 sorted out with, disconnecting me and I couldn't get into the game and stuff. But, we're finally here. We finally got this going on. This is a support guide for Battlefield 3, and it's going to be in three main parts. The first part is going to be how to play support as a whole, as a class. The second part is just going to be the weapons that you have in the support class, and the third part is going to be the equipment that you have in the support class. So we'll get straight into it and start with how to play as a support. So obviously the support is not supposed to be a frontline soldier, although with certain setups and luck and skill you can pull it off. It's not the best class for running and gunning, and it's much more suited to not necessarily a way backline role, but just somewhere just a little bit back behind the action, supporting your teammates, acting as a mobile spawn point that's not a recon 1,000 kilometers away from the action with a 12 times zoom scope. Just a little bit back. You shouldn't die overly much if everything goes to plan. And really, that's all you should be doing. Just sitting a little bit back, still playing the objective, not necessarily physically playing the charge or capping the flag, but definitely overlooking it, or spotting enemies around that area and stuff like that. The main setups that you're going to be using for this are your LMG of choice and a bipod and extended mags, and then whatever optic you want. It probably is best to change that depending on the map. So for example, Caspian Border, you might want to use a 4 times zoom, and then on Operation Metro Grand Bazaar, a a hollow sight or a red dot sight. But that really is up to you. The other alternative to that is running with the foregrip. This is mostly done with the the mag-fed LMG, so the M27 IAR or the RPK-74M, but it can be done effectively with a few of the belt-fed LMGs as well. But we'll get into that in the next session, which we are starting right now, which is the weapons section of the video. So the first weapons they're going to have are the M27 IAR and the RPK-74M for the US and the Russian teams accordingly. They're both mag-fed LMGs, so they're not really full LMGs. They're more just assault rifles with a bigger clip. They pretty much have 15 extra bullets in the clip, fire a little bit slower, and come with a bipod as default. But other than that, they pretty much act as assault rifles. So if you're going to be rushing, or if you want to be rushing in the support kit for whatever reason, if you just like the equipment or whatever, then these are probably the guns that you want to use. They still have a slow fire rate. Like I said, they're probably not going to beat most carbines and most assault rifles in close range, but they're good enough to get you through if you have a good aim and just a little bit of luck and a lot of if your teammates back you up and stuff, then you can rush with these two weapons. But other than that, these are probably the least used LMGs, because really if you're on an assault rifle, you should use the use the medic class, because that's what it's there for. But they're a good starting thing, just easing you into the LMGs. And the next LMG they're gonna unlock though is the M249, and this is also just sort of an ease in, although it is a big belt fed LMG with 100 bullets base and 200 bullets in one belt if you have extended mags on. It is probably the most un-big LMG of the big LMGs, is the only way I can phrase it. It has a really high fire rate, and not a ridiculous amount of recoil, which means that you might often see people running around with a foregrip on it, a foregrip and goddamn tactical lights and stupid stuff like that. But it definitely is also a very good weapon to use as classic LMG with the bipod down and using suppression fire and stuff. Pretty much every LMG that is boat fed has a whole bunch of potential if you can set it up in a good spot with an LMG, and probably one of the best things at this is the next gun you're going to unlock, which is the PKP Pecheneg. It is the complete opposite to the M249. It has a much slower rate of fire and a much higher recoil, as well as bullet spread. But when you put this baby with the bipod down, it just shreds through people. The bipod, although it's very hard to put down some of the time, it's very glitchy about when it goes down and when it doesn't go down. But if you can get it to go down in a good spot, it is just absolute rapage. You have a gun that is, it might be slow firing, but it's only really a 3 or 4 shot kill, and it has basically, little to no recoil most of the time, depending on the gun. And if you set it up with good sightlines, you can destroy an entire enemy team. And with 200 bullets in a single, belt in one of the big LMGs, you don't really even have to stop to reload it all that often. And because of your ammo box, you're not going to run out of ammo pretty much ever. So the support kit is really good for that sort of thing, of just absolutely owning, an area or, a corridor, or just anywhere that the enemy team is trying to get through. You can just sit there and just absolutely rip them to shreds. And the next gun, the M240B, is sort of a mix between the M249 and the PKP. While it is still a big LMG and not as high fire rate as the M249 and not as low fire rate as the PKP, it is really good as one of the better belt fed LMGs for just just running around. It has a pretty low recoil even with without a bipod down, just walking around or crouching or whatever. And when you do have your bipod down, you are not as good as the PKP maybe, but you're still ridiculous force. Like most of the belt fed LMGs, you're almost unstoppable, which is a great thing to have. Just being able to sit down, with a gun like the M240B, where you're decent in mid-range fights even without your bipod down, but then you can just you have the option to just sit there with a bipod and just absolutely rip enemies apart from basically any range, because the support weapons don't really have too much bullet drop until you get to ridiculous ranges. And because of their reasonably low fire rate and their ridiculously low recoil with a bipod deployed, they are just so good at at pretty much what they're supposed to do, which is holding down an area and holding down a corridor and all that sort of amazing stuff. So the next gun that you're gonna get, the M60E4, is probably the most specialty of all the LMGs. It has a really low rate of fire, a lot of recoil. Even with a bipod down, it still has a decent amount of recoil. But it is ridiculous if you can get it down, and you can get, it's just a few shots on target, and any enemy at any range is going to go down. But like I said, it has a lot of recoil. Even with the bipod equipped, it's still going to require good recoil management, good use of that right thumbstick, keeping that weapon down. But if you can keep it accurate, keep it on target for long enough, which is not even really that long, you can once again just absolutely rip anybody to shreds you come through. Most of these belt fed LMGs are very similar in what they do if you play them right. It just really depends on personal preference and getting that mix of rate of fire versus recoil versus damage right, and the right mix for you. There is a whole bunch of options there that you can choose from, so you should be able to find one that suits you and that you can both feel comfortable if you're getting stuck in a tight spot, and also lay down heavy covering fire for your teammates, or close down LA, or whatever you want to do with an LMG. There should be one there that's right for you. And aiding this process is the T88 LMG. Now I'm not really sure where along the tree you unlock this, because it doesn't say anywhere in battle log or pretty much anywhere. I haven't really taken that much time to look, because if you get it with the limited edition physical warfare pack thing, then you get it automatically at the start. but they did add it in. It is a core unlock somewhere along the way. I just don't know exactly where that is, but it is, you know, it's once again Black F240B, one of the best LMGs for just running around. It has very little recoil even without a bipod down, so it's a viable option if you're only with the foregrip option for attachment rather than a bipod. But with the bipod, it still is very good. Like all of the LMGs, it actually rips up with the bipod and extended mags, but you know, it's one of the few that you'll be able to do pretty well with that foregrip as well. And once again, that's just, you know, a little bit of a twist on the LMG. It's not going to do anything special. It's just, you know, another, you know, little mix up of those three things: fire rate, recoil, and damage, that, you know, you might find suits your playstyle perfectly, or you might find it's just a little bit off to you. But you know, that's just personal preference. I can't really tell you which one exactly you're gonna like, because they are all pretty much balanced in their own ways. And yeah, they're all pretty pretty good at what they do, which is, you know, just laying down covering fire. But the next two these are sort of different. They're sort of more close rangey run and gun, and these are two back to car can weapons. So the first one is the QBB95, which you're gonna unlock for the assignment Let It Rain. This will take you so 20 kills with LMGs and 2 kills with the mortar. It shouldn't take you long at all once you get the back to car can expansion pack. And the QBB is actually surprisingly good. When I went back to use it for this video, it is surprisingly good. It you know, it has very little recoil even without a bipod deployed. Once again, an option if you want to use a foregrip rather than a bipod. Oh man, terrible today. But it is, you know, it's a very good sort of mix between an assault rifle and an LMG. And you know, you're not going to get stuck in too many awkward situations with it. You know, especially if you have a bipod equipped, that means that you have a, you know, slightly wider range of, you know, enemies that you'll be able to dispatch reasonably easily. And you know, just building upon that is the MG36, which is unlocked from the assignment Keep Your Head Down. This will take 100 kills with LMGs, 50 suppression assists, and 50 resupplies. None of which should really take you overly long, because one that will probably take you the longest, the suppression assist, can be done with anything, not just LMGs. So you know, just playing normally will get you those. The 50 resupplies aren't that hard. You know, just go to Operation Metro and throw out an ammo box pretty much anywhere. And you know, obviously the LMG kills, not that many. Shouldn't be that hard. And the MG36, once again, not too much recoil and a very high fire rate. Once again, makes it a viable option for the foregrip rather than the bipod. But once again, that is your own personal preference. You know, depending on which way you really want to go, whether you want to have a slightly higher fire rate for less damage, slightly less recoil for less damage, or just go with M60s, go all out damage. You know, I don't even care if I think fires one bullet every 20 minutes because I'm sweet. But that pretty much wraps up the weapon section of this video. Like I said, they all pretty much feel the same function, just in slightly different ways. So try them all out and see which one, you know, really works for you. But now we're getting into the next part of the support kit, which is really the equipment, which really differentiates, like all the classes, the equipment really differentiates the classes from each other, and you know, really helps with that team play aspect. And once you get that down, if you roll with, you know, a squad of 4 people, know what they're doing with their own classes, you just rip enemy teams apart. And the fundamental one to this is the ammo box, which you're always going to have. It's default equipped and you will never lose it. It can't be overridden by anything else, so you pretty much always have it. And pretty much what it does is it's just a box that you throw down that gives out ammo to your teammates, while also giving you points for any teammates that do use it to pick up ammo. And you can also use it to give yourself ammo. So pretty much just throw it down whenever, and chances are they usually just throw it down anywhere. some teammates gonna throw over it, some teammates gonna, you know, get some ammo from it, and that is helping your team. You know, obviously choke points are also a major factor. Grand Bazaar and Operation Metro. Throw it down there, and you'll both help your team out a lot and get a lot of points. But you know, that is really something that, you know, a lot of times you just forget about it being there because it is always there. But if you can remember to constantly be throwing them out, you'll get a lot of points and you'll help your team a lot. And the next thing, the next piece of equipment, the C4, is actually the first thing you unlock for the support kit. And it's really just, you know, obviously you should pretty much know, if you play FPS, is what C4 is. You know, it's just a little packet of explosives which you throw. I think you start off with 4 of them base, and if you have the explosive specialization 6, then you know, it is very, very effective against enemy armor. It's like 3 to kill a tank, which is, you know, if you get close to a tank without getting dominated by the main cannon or the gunner, if there is one, then pretty much it's only a few seconds to plant them, and then, you know, just run away 10 meters and blow it up, and it's very easy. At the moment as well on console, just a little tip, your C4 will stay after death, so if you plant it on a tank or wherever and you die and you respawn, you can just choose the massive troll face and just respawn, switch to your C4 and pull the trigger, and it will still blow up where you planted it, and probably, you know, kill the tank, kill whoever was around the C4 and whatever. But that's a pretty big troll move. But you know, whatever you want to do, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. You know, as long as you're on my team and you're helping me, then you know, that's good enough. So the next thing, next piece of equipment that you got here is the M18 Claymore. Once again, you should know what a Claymore is. It's just a little mine that you put down that is directional, so if an enemy runs in front of it, they will get damaged by it, and that is get damaged, not killed, because in Battlefield 3 the Claymores are pretty much never a one-hit kill, but luckily you get 2 of them, so you can either place them in separate locations, because once you place more than 2 they disappear. The first one that you place disappears, so you can either place them in different locations and just be content with getting hit markers and assists, or place them in locations where you have an overview and, you know, get a hit marker with him and then just put 1 or 2 bullets into the guy and kill him. Or you can put 2 of them in the same spot and pretty much guarantee yourself a kill if an enemy runs over them. But also please note that if an enemy is walking, is, you know, crouching and walking slowly or prone and crawls past them, they will not actually activate. So don't put them, you know, in a place where you know that is probably going to be the case. Put them in, you know, choke points of Operation Metro, Grand Bazaar, things like that. Once again, they stay after death, so if you put them down somewhere and then you die, and you know, if you know you really just want to put a Claymore down that spot, you don't actually have to. You don't actually really have to, because you know they will still be there. You don't have to kill yourself to get back to the same spot. They will stay there after death for as long as you don't put any more down, which is once again a pretty good perk to have. And the very last thing that we're going to discuss today, the M224 mortar, is, you know, it's actually a pretty useful piece of equipment. A lot of people just disregard it as mortar spamming because it does have infinite ammo, except you cannot see any enemies pretty much unless they're spotted by your team. And also, in addition to that, if you get a few kills with it, you know, I think it's about 30, you unlock the smoke rounds, which are pretty much awesome. If your team's getting pushed back, you can just smoke an objective, smoke a flag, put smoke on an MCOM or whatever, and your teammates will hopefully, depending on how good they are, push up and arm it or capture it or whatever they're going to do. So it can actually be pretty effective. Pretty effective if you are, you know, if you're playing with a good team, if you're playing with squads that you are, you know, squads that you're talking with and stuff like that. But other than that, if you're just by yourself, it's not the best option. Once again, you can't say anybody unless they're spotted. So you know, if you're just he's not very good while firing blind, pretty much. It's not very good even while firing with a target. It's pretty inaccurate, and it still takes like 2 or 3 almost direct hits to kill somebody. So really what you want to be doing is only using it on, you know, close maps where you know enemies are going to be near the MCOM, or you can use it as, you know, as a suppression technique, or once again, like I said, as smoke for covering your teammates' advances. But whatever you choose to use it for, it's there. I still recommend, in terms of equipment, that you use C4. That's what I use, just because I don't like tanks, and I like blowing them up with C4 because most of the time they don't know I'm there, and it just makes me laugh that they just die and I get double kill. So, you know, whatever you want to do, most of the LMGs, once again, all feel pretty much the same role, just in different ways. So try them all out as a whole. Try out the support kit. You probably have, but if you haven't, you didn't really like it, try it out again, and just try and be that guy. He's just, you know, always at spawn point, that's just a little bit back from the action, not dying a whole lot. And yeah, try and you know, throw down a lot of ammo boxes, do all that sort of stuff, even blow up a few tanks along your way. But that is it from me. Go and play some Battlefield, go and be some support. This is Super Spider-Man 6. I will see you guys later. Please like the video if you like the video, subscribe to my channel, comment, you know, whatever you want to do. But I will see you guys later. Goodbye.